Hey everybody, Adam here with So Wizard Podcast. It's time for a Star Wars talk with WallyHawk. Big news in Star Wars this week in regards to Ashoka Tano. If you're watching this, I'm sure you know who Ashoka Tano is, but quick rundown. Ashoka Tano is a fan-favorite expanded universe character. Feels weird saying expanded universe with how popular the Clone Wars series and Star Wars Rebels have become, but she was not in the core movies, so as far as I know, anything not in the core movies is expanded universe. She was one of the last characters created by George Lucas, or created when Star Wars was still under the watchful eye of George Lucas, and people absolutely love her. She's a very good character, actually created by Dave Filoni, not George Lucas. People love Ahsoka. She's a great character, and the writers have really done justice with her both on the different cartoon shows and in her own novels. Ahsoka first debuted in the Clone Wars animated movie. This movie actually did get a theatrical release, and nobody includes it on their ranking of the Star Wars movies. Those are always held to be the live-action movies, and really this should not be a part of it. I try to focus only on the positive of Star Wars. I know it's not a perfect franchise, no franchise is, but I choose to ignore the things that I don't like so much or look past them, but this Clone Wars animated movie is a blight on Star Wars. It's unwatchable. But it did deliver Ahsoka, who was done better justice in the Clone Wars cartoon series, which was kind of a continuation of that movie, done in the same style, but evolved and found its way and became something more than a cheesy kid show. Ahsoka's given a really cool arc. She is Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, who is wrongly accused of a crime by the Jedi Order, and although Anakin does prove her right, she sees that the Jedi really have lost their way, and she walks away from the Order. She essentially becomes a Ronin. She's a masterless samurai. Part of this loss contributes to Anakin becoming Darth Vader, but it also leads Ahsoka on this really cool path, taking her into some of the things that Rian Johnson was trying to explore with The Last Jedi. And online, I don't know if it's an official term, but online it's called the Grey Jedi. And this is a Jedi that isn't purely good or purely evil. It's kind of just how a person could be. Not everything Ahsoka does is good, but she is a better person, for lack of a better term. And although she doesn't follow the Jedi Order, she tries to do her best and to do the right thing. She's instrumental in the early days of the Rebellion, and she first operates under Fulcrum before she gets into the early days of the Rebellion in Star Wars Rebels leading up to the events of Rogue One. She has dual white lightsabers and kind of an adapted style, and these sabers are white because they are reclaimed crystals. A quick aside before we get into it, I'm trying to keep this brief enough that you will actually want to sit through it. When a Sith has a red lightsaber, they steal a lightsaber, they corrupt it, break the crystal, and it bleeds. That's why it's red. Ahsoka got those red ones and healed it and made it white. And I only bring that up because I was just going through the Rise of Skywalker novelization, and they talk about how Rey used the ability to heal first the Snake and then later Kylo. She learned that from the ancient Jedi texts, and she used a similar technique, that same part of the Force, to heal Luke's blue lightsaber crystal, which is how she still has the Legacy Skywalker blade in that movie. Anyway, all of this was a huge preamble and a huge build-up to the most recent news, where Ahsoka Tano is going to appear in live action, and that is very exciting. She is going to be in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. As I mentioned, Dave Filoni created Ahsoka Tano, and Dave Filoni is also a producer, writer, director on Mandalorian Season 2, and she is going to be brought into live action. And even cooler, in 2017, I believe it started on Twitter of all places, fans were campaigning for Rosario Dawson to play Ahsoka Tano in some version of live action. I mean, Mandalorian wasn't on our radar then, but in some iteration. And Rosario Dawson caught wind of it and ran with it. She brought it to late night shows, she talked about it openly, she talked about it on the internet, she wanted the role. I'm sure every actor or actress would not mind getting a Star Wars Disney paycheck, but she's kind of been going through these geek franchises, for a lack of a better term. She was kind of the joining agent of all the Marvel Netflix shows, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist. We can maybe forget about that one a little bit. But Claire, the night nurse, Rosario Dawson, was there to bridge the gap and ground all of the series, which was awesome. So bringing her as Ashoka Tano is going to be very cool. That also means that after the events of the Return of the Jedi, Ahsoka is still alive, because as we know, in the end of Rise of Skywalker, Ahsoka's voice appeared to Rey, and someone involved in the production, I don't remember his name, said that just because you heard his voice doesn't mean she's dead, but I think it's a bit of a stretch since every other Jedi was dead. But at least we know after Return of the Jedi, Ahsoka's still around, and we will get to see her in live action. Maybe this will catapult her into her own movie or her own limited series on Disney+, since people love her so much. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out So Wizard Podcast every single week wherever you get your podcasts. Go to SoWizardPodcast.com for reviews, recommendations, merchandise, and more. So Wizard Podcast also has a Patreon page where for as little as $1 a month you can support the show and get bonus content for it. We love hearing feedback, so drop us a note in the comments, leave us something on social media, and please subscribe to our channel, share our channel, tell your friends, create new videos all the time. Thanks. Bye.